because the only way through a struggle is actually getting through it. And so I think there is something to be said about really knowing oneself and then trusting this rabbit hole process.
Hey guys, this is Dee Ivins, and I am here today on behalf of Mike Shreve and the No Pants Project. And today I have the pleasure of talking to Miss Andrea Nova. Andrea, did I get that right?
I go by Drea.
Drea. Okay, I'm glad you corrected me. So thank you for that. And Drea, you've been a part of the No Pants Project for how long now?
Since January, so 8 months.
Oh, wow. Okay. Tell me a little bit about your superpower.
My superpower that I learned during the program, I came into it knowing I was a writer, but not quite sure what superpower meant. And so I learned that I have the ability to distill many large ideas and integrate them in a way that other people can understand. So.
Wow. Okay. So that sounds pretty big and pretty amazing. So how would you kind of simplify or describe that process? So like writing books or like big articles, like you could take lots of ideas and lots of components and simplify them so that like everybody can understand?
Yes, so I'm a research nerd and I've been in school a long time, and my master's degree is in medical anthropology, where I had to take a lot of different ideas like from psychology and from anthropology and from sociology and make sense of those things. So it makes me really skilled at helping other people with giant projects like books and distilling them down to organize them in a way that other people want to read them.
Oh, that's awesome. That is a really cool superpower. So you discovered that while you were doing MPP. How are you enjoying freelancing so far?
I like freelancing now because I've learned that there's a strategy for it. Before, it seemed so disorganized and I didn't quite know how to jump out into the market. So now it's far more enjoyable.
All right, right. So were you freelancing before you started with the No Pants Project? You had like some stuff going on the side?
Yes and no. I have been a practitioner of alternative medicine for about 16 years, and I was trying to find my way out of that. So I had gotten sick and I had a lot of turmoil at one point in my life and just didn't have the passion for the work anymore, the one-on-one. I felt kind of burnt out. So I was looking for a way to jump into freelancing, and I had accidentally stumbled on a travel writing competition and decided to try it out, see what my writing would do in the world, because I've been a writer since middle school but never really focused on that. And I flailed for a while, but I won this travel writing competition, and then flailed for a while, and then found No Pants Project and thought I would just try to make it actually happen.
That's awesome. So what kind of goals are you, kind of setting yourself up with? What are some of your ambitions now that you've kind of concreted your superpower and you've got a better idea of, the superpower that you can offer the world? Like what kind of opportunities and goals are you setting yourself up for now?
Yeah, I'm going big. My daughter and I are actually planning a year-long travel adventure. She is graduating high school early and has done really amazingly well in school. So we are setting aside a year next year to travel the globe and do some volunteering. I'm also working on my own book, and I really love giant writing projects. So hopefully I will get more of those opportunities to help other people write their books as well. And we'd love to be able to travel and then work on these projects while we're doing that, to kind of not have to worry so much about how we're making money on the road. That can be really stressful.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally feel you. So now she's in high school. Is she going to be done by then, or will you guys be homeschooling for that year, or road schooling, I guess?
Road schooling has always been kind of my dream. She was super not into it. She's been really into friends and really social and doing really well in school, but when she started high school, she became disillusioned with the whole drama thing.
Yeah.
So she chose to try a different route and got a scholarship to attend actually the local community college that allowed her to ace all of her high school classes and work toward getting college credit. So she's graduating high school as a junior with her freshman year of college credits finished. So that gives us a lot of time to just sort of redirect.
Yeah. So that's kind of like a super fun travel adventure, and also a little European, like the whole idea of a gap year, which is super fun. So that'll be like a really awesome like bonding experience for you guys too.
Yeah, it'll be amazing. And I love the idea of being able to work on the road. And because I know that not every single day is going to be with us, like in a hotel room or something. You know, we're going to backpack and she's going to have volunteering. And I really like the idea of having this freestyle nomadic life.
Hmm. It's a lot of fun. I like it.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, you said that before you started the No Pants Project, you were doing a little bit of freelancing, you were doing the travel writing. So obviously like that's a really cool passion that you have. Um, and then, you said you kind of flopped and flailed and kind of redirected and then you found No Pants. Tell me a little bit about some of the struggles that you were having, before you found No Pants. Like what was life like freelancing before?
One word, a disaster. Because I had tried Fiverr and I really wanted to understand the business side of writing. It's one thing to have a talent and be a writer, and that's great, but it's an entirely different story to go out in the world and say, I'm a writer and I have a talent. Isn't that great? And people don't really understand what it is I did. They didn't understand what it was that I was trying to offer. And I didn't really either. So I started a Fiverr account knowing that I wasn't going to make any money, but I was trying to understand what kind of jobs were out there, what was the language around it, and copywriting and content marketing. All of these things were still kind of new to me because I'm coming from medicine. So I felt really lost as far as how do I go out in the world with this skill and find people that will pay me what I'm worth or what this skill is worth, rather, and be able to make a living. It just felt really overwhelming.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think a lot of people can echo with that. I mean, I know myself, like I can. I totally used Fiverr before coming to No Pants and other programs like that. So yeah, it's always kind of a struggle, and you're always competing against everybody else. And then you've got those programs that kind of take their commission and stuff off the top too. So even if you're charging what you think the service is worth, you're either getting undercutted or you're having to overcharge for what the service is worth so that you can still make what you feel like you're worth and still pay them their commission. So I know that's kind of a tough one. So did you know your superpower going into the No Pants program? I mean, I know that you had dabbled a little bit and you were doing travel writing and you were kind of exploring everything on Fiverr. So did you kind of already have an idea of what you wanted to do when you started the program?
Yes and no. I knew I was a writer, and I've had many teachers and professors and family tell me to pursue that. And I've been like, yeah, okay, I'm going to totally do that. But then I started to take it seriously, and I did not have confidence. I didn't really share my writing outside of family, friends, and school. So it was a new idea for me. And the travel writing competition I entered was a total fluke. I didn't know what I was entering, I didn't know how big it was. And I ended up winning a lot of money and winning an hour of time with a Penguin Random House editor who had chosen my travel story. And that's where my confidence started to shift because I realized out of 1,500 applicants, my story was chosen and I had never written a travel story before. So that was a new level for me to try it out. And I had to figure out how I was going to take this talent and apply it to business of writing. So I knew somehow I wanted to help people with their websites or their content marketing, maybe their blogs, maybe their brochures, and do something that was called copywriting, even though I didn't really have any idea what that actually was or how to do it. So I was coming in pretty blind.
Awesome. And so you had some, like, which is really cool, that Penguin house, publishing, like you got to meet with them and do all that. So you already had like some kind of a concrete evidence that you had a tendency or like a natural ability toward this skill, which is awesome. And then, during the course, you were able to take that with some of the exercises in the No Pants to help funnel in and kind of find your superpower. Is that what I'm kind of understanding?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I sort of had these ideas and I knew kind of the direction. And then I'm really skeptical, also, I should say. So it was a hard decision for me to join No Pants Project because there's so many out there that are like, hey, do all this great writing, be a barefoot writer, do all this cool stuff on the road and make tons of money. But they don't actually break down how to do that or what it's called. And I really want to know, I want to be clear about the language and the steps. And so I joined No Pants Project kind of like following my gut a little bit. And it was there that I was able to really take all these concepts and mash them together and then come out with something cohesive.
Right. No, that's awesome. Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, especially for me, even going through the program, like just the step-by-step process, you can't really get lost on it if you just follow the steps, which was really important to me because I could get, I think a lot of people struggle with like shiny object syndrome too. Like, oh, what's that over there? And so because there are so many courses, like having one that's set up so that you can follow the lessons, like do this one, do this one, do this one. And if you go in this order, you're good.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about life now. Like you've been freelancing for a while. Tell me about, like, I know I've seen in the Facebook group, you've posted some really cool wins. So tell me about those and what life looks like for you now.
Wow. So yeah, really big wins really early on. And I didn't expect it. Again, I just sort of jumped into this path hoping that it would be a little more spacious than my medical practice. And the superpower week is where I was able to really kind of distill, these are my skills, this is what I'm good at. I had to go out and ask my friends and get a lot of feedback, which was not easy for me. I'm starting over in a way, kind of a career changer. I've been a single mom for a long time, so this is very scary for me. It wasn't something I took lightly. But because I was more familiar now with what I'm bringing to the market and the value, and I have more confidence around it, I changed all the words I was using on my resume and my website and my portfolio, and got highly focused with my copy. So because No Pants really kind of challenges you to dig into your stuff, and it has the soft skill behind it as well. So you're not just learning, this is how you plug and play and work in the world and make money. It's also like, who are you and how do you get clear about that? So that really helped me also. And it was really putting this new intention in the world that I think it was maybe a month after I joined No Pants Project, I was contacted by a doctor who was familiar with my writing just by going through my portfolio and asked if I'd like to help him with his book project. And I had changed my copy to call myself a storyographer. So I took my superpower and then gave it my own special twist.
Nice. The storyographer. Like that is not a competitive title on LinkedIn. So that's awesome.
Yeah, right.
So he contacted you to help him write this book project. And so how did that go? Like, was that like you got that worked out? Did anything else come of that?
Well, actually, what I offered him was he wanted to do this book project and then he had all this other stuff. And I said, why don't we just try with we try something, we start small. And we start with your brochure, and I'll edit your website. And if you like the way that I work, then we can talk about the book project, because I was really still kind of like, I want to make sure that I'm not some sort of fraud.
Right.
And so he hired me for that. He loved the direction that I chose and the way I worked with the content. And then we started talking about the book project. He hired me as a ghostwriter and sort of story coach, the storyographer kind of piece. And then because we clicked, and I have so much of my background in yoga and meditation, which is the content of the book, very early on, he said, you know what, I feel better about being co-authors, and I think we should talk about book 2 as well. And by the way, my attorney has other doctors who are looking for people like you. So it just started to really build in a way I never could have expected.
No way. So you got that, kind of zipped in and locked up. And then on top of it, he wanted to give you referrals. So he was obviously happy with the projects and the work that you were doing.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I know my own value.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So you definitely, is your calendar kind of full now, or are you still leaving room for new clients?
I'm leaving room for new clients. It's definitely shifted from maybe a few websites, maybe some copywriting. I'm not interested in blogs at all. That was the other important piece for me with No Pants, is learning what I didn't want to do, learning what I wasn't interested in, because that's a huge waste of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm focusing now on, I love story coaching. I love helping people organize their books. I'm working with my own editor on my book, and I teach yoga. So I have a full schedule, I have a full plate, but I do have room in my calendar for a couple more projects like this.
That's awesome. So okay, when he contacted you and wanted to work with you on the project, like, were you like jumping up and down in your pajamas in your living room? Like, what? That's just so awesome. Like, I would have been freaking out a little bit, like super excited, but freaking out a little bit.
Oh yeah, I was freaking out a lot of it. I was not, I was like, no, wait, I still had this like fraud. I'm going to get found out. This isn't real. I'm not really this good at it. But we are our own worst skeptics, right? So I tend to be just as hard on myself as everyone else is hard on themselves. And I didn't think that I could really do it. And then it was just through the process of eliminating things I didn't want to do and coming back to the table and working with the content in little steps that I allowed myself the space to build confidence and just keep moving forward. And because we developed a relationship, the doctor and we would talk every week, we'd meet every week, we'd talk about this content. He trusted me, I trusted him, and that made really all the difference. Yeah.
Most definitely. So how do you feel about your future now? I mean, you're obviously making big plans, so I'm gonna optimistic maybe?
I am optimistic. I'm always careful. I think that's just, who I am as a student and researcher, and I always have to know as much as I can about something. But yeah, I feel more in control of making my choices and setting a direction and then following that path. And I absolutely love the fact that I don't have to rely on one-on-one, hour per hour, dollar per hour, one client at a time, because that's just no way to really build a long-term future for me.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally get that. And I think it's hard for a lot of people too. Like, if you like delivering huge chunks of value, it's really hard to just kind of think in increments like that, because you're like, no, I just want to give you all this. Like, here, just take this whole thing. Let me just make you happy. Here's everything you want. And so that's super awesome that you can do that now. So what I love is I'm a big research nerd too. So I love that you kind of have this research background. So for people who are watching this interview, could you maybe give them a few tips or, a few strategies, things that you've used in your superpower discovery process? Like, as you're learning, learning these new skills and how to apply them and how to refine them, were there any like research tips or tricks that you could offer them to kind of help them be like, okay, take this and narrow it down to this, like help them refine their field of view?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say I constantly allowed myself to change my mind and then come back to an idea later because the process was a little overwhelming. These are really big ideas that I'm dealing with, that I was dealing with, like writer, copywriter, travel writer, which one's going to make money, which one do I like the best, which one do I think I could be good at. And you really have to sort of filter it. So that's the process of taking your skills and asking for feedback and being a part of the Facebook group and trying stuff out and then feeling it through to see if it works for you. So the research really is kind of an internal process as well, because you can only find so many answers through the external world. You know, that'll just add a lot of confusion. So I would say start with a grand idea and then pick 3 or 4 smaller ideas under that umbrella and feel out the ones that you're really attracted to and see if they're going to work in the real world. And that's just kind of how I did that process, but I didn't just do it once and then win. I did it over and over and over again to the point of like tears sometimes. And then I'd have to take a step back and I'd have to start over because the only way through a struggle is actually getting through it. And so I think there is something to be said about really knowing oneself and then trusting this rabbit hole process.
I kind of love that quote. Like the only way through a struggle is just getting through it. That makes so much sense. That's really good. Yeah, I definitely agree. So that's awesome. So that's so cool. All right. So what would you say to anyone who is considering looking at the No Pants Project, investing in the No Pants Project for themselves and for their business?
I would say personally, and I'm not sugarcoating anything because I think it's going to make me friends. I really think that this was the best investment I've made in my education because it gave me a breakdown for a path that I wanted to follow. It gave me a beginning, a middle, and an end point. It gave me the goals that I was looking forward to. And so, I mean, that's worth its weight, you know. And I would say, coming from someone who's skeptical, I've researched, I wouldn't say every single writing program out there, but a lot of them. And I've participated in a lot of them in a lot of ways. And I did research how to become a freelance writer for a couple years before I actually started this whole travel writing competition thing. So the investment really speaks for itself. The accountability, coaches, the Facebook group, the support is there. I really recommend people don't do this on their own. Unless you have, you know, a lot of connections in the world that can help you propel yourself forward, it just isn't realistic. We need help. We need community. We need social support. And so the fact that this is so well thought out and it adds all these pieces in a way that is comprehensive. I mean, don't tell Mike this, but like he could be charging so much more.
Yeah, I've had other people say the same thing, and I'm like, he's going to hear this on one of these videos.
Yeah, go tell him.
I know. That's awesome. So what about, man, that's so cool. But I'm just thinking of like your whole journey. So you've got your clients kind of in the pipeline, you've got other projects coming up, you've got a little room for new clients, and then like you're looking at taking this kind of world trip in a year, which is amazing. That's such like in all, and like you started 8 months ago. So
Yeah.
just in this period of time, like you've accomplished what some people, you know, they take years to accomplish getting to that level, and you did it in 8 months. That's amazing.
I'm a little type A. I'm a little overachiever.
That's good. It shows. That's awesome. Oh, that's so great. So, all right. Oh, I just love it. All right. So, final thoughts. If you had like some little nuggets of wisdom that you wanted to share with people, what would be your little nuggets of wisdom that you would love to share?
Yeah, I was thinking about this a lot. I really have come up with maybe 4 nuggets of wisdom that I've used along my path, especially in the last 8 months, that I've come back to again and again that have truth to it. One of them is you have to have the fortitude to follow through, because there's going to be not one failure, but many. And so just kind of get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because it's new territory, and that's the deal. We kind of have to just own our stuff and then have the fortitude to like really commit to ourselves and reach our goals. That's the first, that's most important, because there's been many moments where I wanted to just give up, and giving up is not something that I have in my language. So the second is really, there's truth in following your joy. Even though that sounds a little cliche and people are like, oh, follow your bliss, and that's a nice idea. But there's actual truth to taking what you're curious about, taking what you love, taking what you're skilled in, because you've spent all that time gaining those skills, to really allow your joy to kind of lead you down this path, even if it's dark for a while. The thing I tell my friends a lot if they call me for advice or something is, if you don't like where you are in life, aim higher. Maybe you're just not aiming high enough for yourself. Sometimes we sell ourselves short, or we give up too soon. And the last bit would be, what you seek is within you. We all have the answers inside of us. I really believe that.
Those are awesome. That was awesome. You're so fun to talk to. I love it.
Thank you.
So insightful. I feel like I should be sitting in a yogi class right now, listening to words of wisdom, doing stretches.
You can come to my yoga classes, sure.
Yay! Well, okay, Drea, and not Andrea, Drea.
Drea, yeah.
Drea, sorry, I'm gonna get it.
Okay.
Drea, thank you so much for your time this morning. I, like all of us, in the No Pants community and the Facebook group, we love seeing student success stories. And when you posted yours, that you had this book deal, and it was like following up, and it was leading to other deals for you and other, client wins for you. We were all just so excited for you. And so I'm so happy that you took time to kind of give us a little bit about your story and to give us some insight to how you got to where you are, because that's so helpful for everyone else who's going through the course, and even people who are just watching these videos trying to learn what it's all about and trying to understand even the concept of freelancing. Like, you've given us so much wisdom. And so thank you so much for that. And thank you for your time and all the thoughtful answers that you gave us this morning.
Thank you, Delisha. I appreciate your time as well. It's been a really fabulous journey. I'm so grateful that this program is out there. I don't know how I would have done it without it, to be honest. So I really appreciate all of you and everything you guys do.
Oh, you're so awesome. Okay. You have an amazing morning, and I'll see you in the Facebook group.
All right. Sounds good. Take care.
Thank you. You as well.